Hello everybody and welcome back to Maebad Aljamal. I still have no clue at all if this is the correct pronunciation, but anyhow, you know how I meant this, and yeah, just welcome back in the kind of Arabian area, and this time we're gonna have a little bit of detail work to do on especially on the window side of it. I wanted to create some windows first before we go into some more of the shaping of the whole area. And again, I just want to say thank you all for the amazing feedback you gave me in the last 2 episodes, and I kind of just wanted to read out one because he was just assuming something which I have already planned, and you will see in this episode that said the episode was recorded way before the comment has been posted. So you might be really happy, Mr. Max9201 or Max9201, I think. He just mentioned last time, I think it would be so cool if you would build the drop of the water coaster dark ride down a waterfall which leads into an oasis. It won't be exactly like that, but there will be something going on with a oasis, and I kind of want to... No, I'm not going to spoil what I'm going to do there, because it's kind of special. For those of you who have played the game Anno 1404, they might have already an idea what I'm going to do, but as I said, not going to spoil too much. I just wanted to mention in this episode that the piece count, I mentioned already in the last 2 episodes that the piece count is already pretty high. I don't know why exactly, but I have to say Frontier seems to have improved the whole thing quite dramatically, because I was wondering, and I was checking some other parks to have the relation, and for example my London park, which has pretty much the same amount of pieces already with just the environment, right, like the London environment, as this park, and it seems to run a lot worse than this park. That said, it's also a way older one, so I assume they have changed a few things in the meantime with some of the patches, and the game still runs pretty decent, I have to say. Like with people in the park and on plate, it still goes well up to 30 FPS, which is pretty nice for me, I have to say. I kind of wonder if this is really down to the improvements they made, or if it's just because I'm just copying the same piece. I mean, because they definitely changed something in using the same piece all the way around. They definitely improved that a lot. So maybe it's down to this as well. But anyways, as you can see now here, we are gonna put a little bit more detail in this very area over here, because this is the, let's say, most important view when you enter the little area over here. So people will be entering the area through the gate, and what they see will be the market beneath this little restaurant kind of elevated area, and the market will be also in front of it, and also on the left hand side of it. But this building over there will be blocking away kind of the other things in the park. And as you can see, I tried to make a kind of night sky over here. I think that worked out pretty decent. If we have a lot more colors later on in here and some hanging carpets and stuff like that, it will look a lot more decent. So I am pretty happy with the outcome, to be honest. But yeah, that said, this building over here will be the most important thing of the entire area, because this is what you look at from the from the entrance, not from the enter, whatever, from the entrance point. And I just had so many ideas, but I just wanted to make this right first before we go on with different ideas. And also I wanted to cover this up from the other side, so that from every angle you look at it, it has a nice and decent view. The only problem I still have, and I kind of want to do this with some foliage later on, I guess. Like we have one single issue, and this is, you know, I wanted to focus on this quite a lot in this park, and I have done this with the main street and also with the pirate area a little bit. The thing is, normally in theme parks, a building isn't done from every angle. Like you always try to have a nice front. Maybe you also need a side view, but then again, the back is most certainly just a white, grayish, whatever kind of wall with some security and stuff entrances, and that's it. Or security exits, obviously. And that's it. So you can definitely do this with all the kind of buildings you have, where people just go from their POV and you block the back of it just by putting some walls or some foliage and stuff. The thing is, as soon as you have an elevated area like we have with the oasis or with the Arabian area like here, it will be seen like the Disney castle from everywhere around the park. That means essentially we have to make every single side of it look beautiful, which also means that a lot of details are going into it, which is not bad, but it will take a lot of work. So I want to kind of, not because I'm lazy, I am, but I still like this area so much that I have so many ideas in mind, but I want to keep it on a, yeah, I can't say on a low poly count, that would be a bad lie, but I want to keep it as low as possible, and so I'm looking into it how we can at least have one side of it blocked by some foliage. So the idea is now from this point on, looking to the left hand side, there will be the entrance to the dark ride, and I want to make the left hand side, so if you look from the main street, it will be the left hand side of the park, or of the Arabian area. This one will be just a flat wall, and I will be putting some windows on top of the wall, like on a higher position, and then I will put a lot of foliage like palm trees and a lot of shrubbery and stuff like that below, so that looking from the downside of it, like from the path, you just will see the very top of the building, like the beautiful onion roofs and the last layer of the wall with some windows in it, and that's it. So I hope that this will save us a little bit of work. You will see also later on in this episode I went in and built some walls just of the normal wall pieces instead of the windows, just to save some polys and some piece counts. But yeah, anyways, let's continue with what I'm building right here. So it was kind of difficult, and I completely forgot that I made the interior of this onion roof as well. So I definitely wanted to leave a space where people can watch the beautiful roof of it. And what I did then is I kind of wanted to make this very little area next to the shop, which is nothing really special. There will be some picnic tables later on when we do have them from the update. Hopefully I can fit them in there. Otherwise I just make some custom ones. But yeah, I just wanted to make this over here to have this beautiful interior as well, and also some windows, as you can see here, some little open squares, so people can watch also the flat ride from above here. So to make this whole area a little bit more working together, which is not quite easy, I have to say, because I tried to make this as narrow and as how to say this, yeah, interesting in a way, but I'm looking for another word. It just is more like not intrigue. It's like, you know, very narrow and into each other, so that it is really interesting to walk through, and you don't have that many things you see from the first glance, but there is a lot going on. I even don't have the German word for it, so I would look it up, but I have no clue what I want to say actually. Never mind. But yeah, what you can see quite nicely now is that the whole area is kind of shaping up. I'm just quickly putting this tower down so that we have a nice view now to this area, and also putting those pieces a little bit to the side, because every now and then you just need to check how the entire building looks like. And yeah, as you can see now, I'm going to make the area look a little bit more finished in terms of terrain work, though I have to say I'm gonna change this quite a lot in the next episodes, because I was not too sure how I wanted to do it at the beginning. So there is a lot of trial and error going into it, because I definitely wanted to have a little bit more water in this area, like a little bit of a creek going through it, but I also want to make this creek work together with the lake in the middle of it. So I looked for a idea to combine this, and later on you will see this, and that's why I mentioned the comment from Max at the beginning of this episode. I ended up with a kind of waterfall area, but here you can see, as I mentioned, using those walls as walls which they are supposed to be. Okay, never mind. It's just funny. It seems always so obvious to use walls as walls, but I kind of never do it like that, so it's a little bit funny for me, but not for you. Anyways, let's continue with what I'm doing. Yeah, speaking of the waterfall, you can see I'm already preparing the area over here, and as I said, I had so many ideas in mind, and we are coming now to one idea I wanted to focus on a little bit more, and this is the interaction with the lake. And I do have to say, and I'm not gonna spoil what I'm going to do down here, it seems to be obvious what I'm going to do here, but it is not as obvious as you might think. Now, maybe you do think in the right direction, but maybe not. But as you can see here, I'm quickly preparing the waterfall, which then will be also... I don't even know if the coaster will be having its drop then down here. Maybe it has, maybe not. It would be kind of nice, but I have no clue if I do it like that, because it would be a kind of long way to bring it back then into the station. But anyways, it could be an idea to make it over there. Honestly, I haven't planned it yet because I still need to wait for the update, which shouldn't be taking too long from today. But I still need to wait for the water coaster then to make this work kind of nicely. I wanted to kind of lay out the entire thing in another building then, and then later on move it in. I have no clue if that works. I tried a little bit around with the log flume, even though the log flume, I just don't know if the angles are correct, right? So that's basically the biggest problem. I can't really start off with it. But yeah, never mind. It's just, yeah. So as a second thing we do in this episode, we are focusing a little bit more on the flat ride, which I have to say was maybe the biggest struggle of this area till today. I am not quite happy with the outcome, to be honest. That said, I will be happy in the end because I know how to continue with it, and at the very end of this episode you will see something that is already explaining kind of how this area will be shaping up in the future. But that said, before going to this, it was a huge struggle to make this look nice and at the same time at least a tiny little bit realistic, because I wanted to cover up this flat ride like this, which is perfectly working on the lower side of it, but later on going up it's kind of difficult because the whole bodywork of this flat ride is moving like crazy. As you can see, there is this little hydraulic elevating thing, which I don't have any clue how to call it, but it puts it pushes the whole thing upwards, and then it is rotating around itself, but also going higher and lower on different angles of this flat ride thing itself. Then it is rotating alongside it should be the y-axis, I guess, and also it's kind of tilt towards the left-hand side of this hydraulic thing, and it's kind of a lever or something, right? Or a pivot, I don't know. Yeah, anyways, it's kind of difficult to do it because, as you can see, putting the walls in, it looks kind of strange with those arms or whatever going through it, and they will move up and down as well as the thing is moving to one side, as I said. So I needed to cover this all up in a way that it at least looks kind of realistic. And as you can see, I was trying to use those wooden beams here to kind of create a little thing that looks like as if it would be opened in a way, right? So that it is like moving through it. I couldn't leave it open because that's basically a problem, but here you can see it's then moving upwards, and yeah, this is giving me another struggle. So I had to go with a lot of trade-offs in here. I mean, I could have just gone into it and theme it and don't pay attention at all to the movement of the flat ride, but I don't like this, right? I just want to make it work as much as possible together with the flat ride. You know, we have a lot of flat rides that do work kind of nicely together because it's just static in a way that it's just rotating around one axis and has no further movement in it, which then again is quite easy to theme, but this one is quite hard to theme because it's, yeah, as I said, it's having so many different movements and angles in itself that it is kind of impossible to make it look 100% realistic, but at least I wanted to keep it a little bit realistic. Hopefully you're gonna understand why this is a little bit difficult. And as you can see, I was messing up angles completely over here, so I also the proportions of it, so I decided to do it again and do it a little bit more professional in inverted commas, because it's, yeah, it's, as I said, it's not looking as nice as I wanted it to look. I tried a little bit around with this little flags over here and some little nice details. At the end I ended up with the icing. By the way, icing is one of the best pieces in the game to use in general for detailing, because they are just small, they are kind of glossy, they do have also a matte tone of it. If you have a really dark color, you can also use it as a matte piece. But as I said, also glossy if you use some brighter colors. And I kind of like how the details look at the side of it, but I don't really like how it works together with the unroof right now. So I'm gonna have to work on this in the future as well. But yeah, as you can see, it's slowly taking shape, and at the moment it looks quite strange, I have to say, but this will be changing later on. I do have some ideas to make this look a lot more nice, but it doesn't work right now. This is down to the fact that I need to first of all focus on other things before I can do this later on. You will understand in some future episodes. I'm really sorry, I can't really tell you. I just could, but that doesn't help a lot, because I need to show you then. It's kind of something to do with some ropes and hanging stuff and shadow work in a way as well. But yeah, it is how it is, right? So you will see in the end how it shapes up, and then you can decide. But at the end of this episode, as I told you, and we are now getting to the end of it, we are already 16 minutes nearly in. Crazy! This episode went quick. Hopefully you liked also the commentary. I felt quite nice today, because it's so much to talk about in this area. And also, again, I just wanted to quickly give a shout out to DL Fendel again. His comment on the last episode, I'm not gonna go too much into it, because it was... Again, he tends to write little stories. This is really cool, and he talks about basically what I was talking about last episode, that I wanted to go for more theming and more quality rather than many different rides, and he was really making a very strong and interesting comment about it. So if you want to go back to the last video and read his comment, I believe it's the second one already, so just scroll way down to the bottom part and you're good to go. But yeah, anyways, a big shout out to him, because I love his comments, and if you're there, Mr. DL Fendel, just bring in always, because I love it to read your comments, and hopefully others are going to jump into these discussions as well. So look always to Mr. DL Fendel and yeah, get into the discussion. But as you can see, this is now shaping the future, I should say, because using these flags with some carpet textures works perfectly for having this Arabian look to it, and I can't wait to use this more often. The only problem, we just have this big flag, which is a little bit of a problem, but we will get into it. And as a last thing, you now get an aerial view of this area, because you asked for it. So here it is. You can see how this area looks compared to the other areas of the park, and yeah, it's not as big, but it will be getting a little bit bigger with the coaster. The coaster will definitely decide, or will shape, how big the area will be in the end. The dark ride part of it will be below the area, so you won't see this at all. I still have to see how I do it in the most easy way. I guess I'll take the trick of the lady designer, so I will kind of build the building and the coaster inside, so to have the right angles, and then I will kind of build a gigantic building around it and copy the coaster outside of it, and so we can build in the bright outside world, and then move it in later on again, so that we don't have the struggle to build inside the mountain, which will be for you viewing it or watching it will be a nightmare, and for me building as well. But anyways, that should be it with this episode. Hopefully you enjoyed it. I am not quite sure if I can do another one for the weekend, because I'll be in Berlin again. Maybe we just have a little bit of a showcase video, but maybe also more. Let's see. See you then, guys, and have a nice day. Bye bye.